get hit with a
Right.
shot that I need to take. You know, that's why we fight. You know, he got to take my punches too. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, he took Triple G punches, he took B-Vol, all these punches and all these fighters and this, you know, but, you know, I believe in myself, I believe in my punching power, and I believe the right punch at the right time, I can do great damage.
Right before the fight, the air was thick with tension. Crawford came out swinging with words, claiming he could seriously hurt Canelo if he landed right. People kept hyping up how Canelo had survived bombs from big hitters like Triple G, but Crawford swore he had the power to crack that armor, and he was ready to prove it. After Crawford's fearless claim, his trainer, Brian Bullock McIntyre, backed him up, sounding calmer but just as sure. We're going in there to win. We'll do whatever it takes to get it done. I'm not spilling the game plan, but deep down everyone knows we're winning. Bullock didn't share any secrets, but his message hit home. Crawford's ready for anything Canelo throws. They truly believe nothing can stop them from winning. The fire and obsession they've brought to this fight leave no room for doubt. Everything's riding on this moment. The plan stays locked away, but the hunger to win never fades. They're willing to go to war as the heat builds and to stir the pot even more. Floyd Mayweather, who used to fight and beat champions like Canelo, dropped harsh words, questioning Canelo's skills.
You could take a guy like Canelo, this guy could do, he can pick and choose who he want to fight. And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Cakewalk. Easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting our fighters.
Things got even spicier after Mayweather's comments. Even though Canelo has gone toe-to-toe with some of the best fighters out there, Floyd flat out says Canelo can't beat him and calls him easy work. Mayweather's confidence doesn't budge, throwing more fuel on the fire. Now it's up to Canelo to crush those doubts and prove he's still the man in the ring. This fight won't just be about trading punches, it's a battle of pride and legacies. And as the war of words heats up, Tim Bradley jumped in too, boldly saying Crawford's taking the win.
You really think that he's gonna knock out Crawford? I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez, even at 168. Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way. I know a secret y'all don't know, and I ain't gonna tell you why I would pick Terence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fight. So.
Bradley flat out says Canelo won't be able to knock Crawford out and picks Bud to win. His take gives Crawford the upper hand, arguing that Crawford's skills and ring smarts will overwhelm Canelo once the heat is on. Bradley's words only add more fuel to an already raging fire. Canelo's power might not be enough to stop Crawford, who's coming in relentless. This showdown is shaping up to be way more than a slugfest. It's a clash of brains, guts, and pure will. And after debating how the fight could go, another commentator jumps in, questioning if Canelo really has what it takes.
I really do think the fight, I mean, look, the fight can go either way, guys. Either Crawford gets on his bicycle because Canelo hits too hard, just like we saw with Skull, or there's another scenario that can happen where Crawford can make Canelo look bad, just like Mayweather did, okay, and just took him to school without running.
Oscar De La Hoya, who knows firsthand what it takes to be a champ, shared his take on how this fight might unfold. He respects Canelo's power, but also points out flaws that could be picked apart. De La Hoya believes Crawford has what it takes to school Canelo the same way Mayweather once did. This clash will drag both fighters to their breaking point, and De La Hoya's insight just makes it even juicier. With the fight closing in, the stakes are sky high, and as the war of words rages on, the weight gap between these two becomes an even bigger talking point.
Or we'll see, Canelo just annihilate him because of the weight. You have to remember that Crawford is a 47-pounder or 54-pounder, coming and Canelo has fought he's probably weighed 200 pounds in the ring at one point. So, and it makes a huge difference, guys. 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds makes a huge difference. So, especially at the elite level. So I think it's a great fight.
Oscar De La Hoya makes a strong point. Canelo's size advantage could be the game changer here, since Crawford is coming up from a lighter weight. At this elite level, even a few extra pounds can matter big time. De La Hoya admits Canelo's heavier frame might help him take over, making the fight even harder to predict. Crawford's skills are undeniable, but that extra weight Canelo brings could end up tipping the fight his way. Still, no matter the size talk, it's going to be a battle of raw power, speed, and smarts. And Crawford isn't fazed by the challenge waiting for him.
I don't know. I don't know about comparing it to his situation, but it will be a situation where I'll be talked about for many decades to come, and definitely go down in the history books as one of the best fighters to ever lace up the gloves.
Oscar De La Hoya hits on something real. Canelo's size edge could flip the whole fight since Crawford's moving up from a smaller weight. At this top level, every single pound can change everything. De La Hoya admits Canelo's extra bulk might let him bully the fight, making it even harder to call. Crawford's got the skill, no question, but Canelo's heavier build could swing things his way. Still, forget the size debate, this clash is about brute strength, speed, and fight. ICU, and Crawford isn't the type to back down from a big test.
If you look at my career, I always went straight to the champion in every weight class that I went to, except 140. I had to fight for a vacant title, but I always went for the champion. And I just think, whether I fight a non-champion or a champion, it's going to be the same thing.
Crawford isn't new to moving up in weight. All through his career, he's taken on the best out there, no matter how big they were. Champion or challenger, he's always gone after the toughest. He believes this fight won't come down to pounds on the scale, but to skill, tactics, and sheer will. Crawford's faith comes from knowing that whoever's in front of him, he'll fight with everything he's got. To him, it's all about heart and game plan, not weight. When people talk about Canelo's size edge, Crawford shrugs it off as hype and points to his own power and drive heading into the fight.
Not really. I'm strong, and come fight night, I think people would be surprised and, seeing how strong that I really am. I think that a lot of people is, over thinking the size advantage. Canelo is a strong fighter in himself, and he's a good puncher, but so am I, and fight night is going to be good.
Even with all the talk about Canelo's size, Crawford insists people sleep on how strong he really is. He makes it clear he's not just slick with skills, he packs serious power too, and he believes that'll show when it matters. While Canelo's known for heavy shots, Crawford says he brings just as much danger when the bell rings. His strength will shock a lot of fans and make this fight one to remember. It's not just about who's bigger, it's about who leaves it all in the ring. At the same time, Crawford refuses to judge Canelo's size and power ahead of time, saying only the fight itself will reveal the truth.
Until we fight, I can't never say somebody is bigger and more powerful if I've never been in the ring with them. A lot of people that I fought, writers and the fans may have thought these fighters was stronger, bigger, punch harder, but come fight time, you see a big difference in my size, my power, my strength, and so forth. So I can't never say how big, how strong, how hard a fighter is until I fight.
He admits that fans might see Canelo as the bigger, stronger guy, but says experience taught him never to judge power until you feel it in the ring. Crawford reminds everyone that plenty of his past opponents were hyped up as stronger punchers. Yet once the bell rang, his own power stood out. For Crawford, it's all about stepping into the fight and proving he can beat anyone, no matter the size or strength gap.
I'm very powerful, explosive, strong. That's why I have the ability to adapt to a lot of fighters, because I can do so many things in the ring. So come fight night, we'll be prepared and we'll see what would be the best, way to tackle this.
He believes his explosive, aggressive style gives him the edge to handle any opponent. Crawford knows that no matter what challenge comes up, his knack for switching tactics mid-fight makes him a nightmare to figure out. On fight night, he'll be locked in on finding the perfect way to beat Canelo. It's that versatility that makes him dangerous and keeps rivals guessing. Crawford makes it crystal clear, this fight isn't just about adding another win. It's about cementing his legacy and grabbing more belts.
He's an undisputed champion, two-time undisputed champion in the same weight division. I'm two-time undisputed in 2 different weight classes. So it's definitely about legacy, and it's definitely about the belts at the end of the day, because I'm coming to take.
He highlights how becoming a 2-time undisputed champ in 2 weight classes would be historic, showing what's really at stake. Crawford isn't just fighting to win, he wants to lock in his place among boxing legends. It's the legacy and the belts that push him forward, and he's dead set on taking them from Canelo. This fight is the payoff for years of sacrifice and his dream to rise to the very top of boxing. Crawford believes beating Canelo won't just define his career, but shoot him up the rankings. He said, "At the top, I think it's going to put me high in the rankings." He's convinced a win here will elevate him to a whole new level. Crawford sees it as the fight that will stamp him as one of the world's best. It's bigger than the belts, it's about proving dominance with Canelo standing in his path. Crawford knows that victory would lock in his status as an all-time great. Meanwhile, boxing insiders keep weighing in, with Eddie Hearn sharing what this bout means for Canelo. Hearn believes fighting Crawford is the kind of massive clash that can reignite Canelo's hunger, since lately he's looked flat, cruising past guys like Charlo and Berlanga without even breaking a sweat. Now, facing Crawford, he'll have to dig deeper and find that fire again. Hearn argues that Canelo's last few fights didn't push him, letting him stay in first gear without real danger. But going against Crawford will force him to show what he's truly made of. Hearn sees this as the fight that'll bring out the real champion in Canelo and make him prove himself all over again, which is what makes it so compelling. Still, after all the talk, Hearn stops to acknowledge what Canelo has given to boxing. He respects that, despite having already achieved everything, Canelo keeps grinding and chasing greatness. Hearn believes it's that passion and competitive drive that set Canelo apart from most fighters. And while Canelo has proved himself countless times, Hearn knows this fight will test his will and mental toughness as it gets closer. Eddie Hearn finishes by admitting he's torn, seeing big strengths on both sides with Canelo and Crawford.
I've always favoured Canelo in the fight.
Well, I've heard that you want Canelo to win, but you feel
of course,
big.
Yeah, I like Terence. I've worked a lot with Canelo, and I think just because of what I saw in Riyadh and because of the threat, and he's getting on as well, Crawford, but it's just like the mindset of Crawford. Like, there's no doubt in Terence Crawford's mind that he wins this fight. And when you spend a bit of time with him, you kind of start buying into that. And I guess that's what happened in Riyadh, because I've travelled with him to the fight, and but it's a 50-50 fight. I think gun to...
Hearn admits he's long leaned toward Canelo because of his experience in the sharp performances he's witnessed firsthand. Still, he also sees Crawford's rock-solid self-belief and killer mindset after being around him. Even with his own bias, Hearn says it's hard not to buy into that kind of confidence. He calls it a real 50-50th fight, pointing out how each man brings something special as the showdown nears. Eddie Hearn shares his own view, leaning slightly toward Crawford, but still rooting for Canelo. "I'm probably going with Crawford, right now, but I want Canelo to win. I know he can win, but Terence is going to make it very hard for him, and I don't think he'll enjoy that type of fight." Hearn says, if forced to pick, he'd choose Crawford. But deep down, he still wants Canelo to get it done. He thinks Canelo has what it takes to pull it off, but Crawford's style will make the night rough. For him, Crawford's awkward, unpredictable approach could drag Canelo into territory he's never faced. Hearn knows Crawford will bring an uncomfortable, tricky edge to the ring. This fight promises to push both fighters into places we haven't seen, which makes it even more electric. Meanwhile, Christian Billy breaks it down too, critiquing both Crawford's and Canelo's recent showings.
I was not very impressed with the last fight of Crawford, The fight, I don't remember the name of his opponent. For me, I was not... Madrimov, I was not very impressed. Canelo fight too, I was not very impressed. But... Skull, yeah. But we're gonna see. For me, my favorite is Canelo, because I think Canelo is more bigger, and we're gonna see if Crawford makes the same strategy that Schools, but a little bit more. He put more punch. If he put more punch, we're gonna see. But for me, I think Canelo is more bigger, and the way we...
Billy admits he wasn't blown away by Crawford's last fight or by Canelo's recent showing, yet he still leans toward Canelo and believes his size edge could be a real game changer. He feels if Crawford uses a similar game plan to past fights, but throws more punches, it might shift things. Still, Billy says Canelo's bigger frame could end up deciding it all. As the fight draws near, the big question hangs. Will Crawford's strategy really be enough to handle Canelo's power and size? Christian Billy also talks about whether Canelo can knock Crawford out, allowing for the chance but sounding doubtful. Billy doesn't fully buy that Canelo will stop Crawford, though he admits it could happen. He knows Canelo has the raw power to hurt Crawford, but says the fight won't come down to strength alone. That makes the matchup even more unpredictable. Canelo's knockout threat is obvious, but whether it can break through Crawford's skill and toughness is another story. Christian Billy then breaks down Crawford's shot at winning, pointing out that smart tactics could be the key.
Crawford can win by point, we never know, if he makes a good strategy, but if Crawford knock Canelo, I will be shocked, of course. But I think he can win by point if the strategy is good, Everything possible in boxing.
Billy thinks Crawford could win on points if he comes in with the right plan, but he admits nobody can predict the fight for sure. He points out that in boxing, anything can happen, and if Crawford outworks Canelo with smart tactics, a decision win is possible. Still, he confesses he'd be shocked if Crawford actually beat Canelo outright. Bill Haney jumps in with fire, telling fans to stop sitting on the fence and back Crawford as he takes on his biggest test yet. Haney says Crawford stepping up to fight Canelo proves he's serious about becoming an all-time great. Haney fully backs Crawford, saying this is his shot to prove he's among the best to ever do it. Haney also calls out those still wavering, demanding they finally pick a side and stand firm.
Crawford gonna put hands and feet on him, and that's how you do it. You understand? And typically, like I'm saying, sometimes this raises. I don't know how it is. It gives you so much different, more power when you have that. Like
motivation,
You know what I'm saying? Or a couple of these guys, you know what I mean? I'm trying to give a different
You perform at a higher level.
You understand? And come on, man. And Crawford, he thrives on that. Did you see the way he looked at Canelo? See what he told him?
Yeah.
Now, the man said, now, was both good. Say, you're not going to beat me. You say, I'm telling you, I guarantee I'm going to beat you. So, you know what I'm saying? That's how Crawford is. That's how he feel. He believe in his heart. And you could tell it. You could look him in his eyes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people believe that Crawford going to win this fight.
Davis says what really sets Crawford apart is his drive and mindset. He sees a fighter who truly believes deep down he's going to win, and you can see it in his eyes in every move he makes. Crawford feeds off pressure and actually performs better when it matters most. Davis points out Crawford's fire in the ring, which will be key against a fighter like Canelo, whose own confidence sometimes wavers. Davis fully believes Crawford has what it takes, and plenty of others do too. Crawford's faith in himself is rock solid, and he doesn't hide it. Crawford bluntly said, "We got to fight, and I'm going to win the fight." That line sums up his no-nonsense mindset. He's locked in, determined, and crystal clear about wanting to win. There's zero room for doubt in his head. He's stepping in there with one mission: victory. Crawford's confidence stands out, and it's a real weapon heading into this massive showdown. As fight night between Crawford and Canelo gets closer, the hype keeps growing, with both men pushing to their limits. It's shaping up to be a war of power, tactics, and pure will. Crawford's belief in himself is obvious, and many think his mindset and skills might give him the edge. But on the flip side, you can't ignore Canelo's size and big fight experience. It's a matchup that splits fans and experts alike, each making solid points for why their pick will win. So what do you think? Can Crawford's attitude and style handle Canelo's strength? Will Canelo's power prove too much, or can Crawford outsmart him with speed and ring IQ? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more fight breakdowns and updates.